In this video, you're going to learn how we lit these 4 very different looking lighting setups. And we only used these 4 lights: the Forza 302, the 300B2, the 62, and the 60B2. So come along as I show you how we got 4 looks with 4 lights. This is our corporate interview setup. And because we're not in a corporate space, we kind of had to make our own. So I'm gonna walk through this setup and explain everything we did. We are using the Blackmagic Design Pocket 6K Pro with a Canon 1.2 50mm lens. We chose this setup because I wanted some compression, and the 50mm gives us that. Also, the shallow depth of field really makes our background a little bit more convincing and realistic looking. Come on back here behind the backdrop. I'm gonna show you the first light. Here we have the Nanlite Forza 300B2, and this is a bicolor light, but we have it set at 5600. And this light is bouncing through the backdrop to kind of give it an effect of the sunlight coming through the windows. Here we have the Nanlite 60B2. This is a bicolor light set to about 4000 Kelvin. This is our backlight for Lynn, and we have a gobo in here that gives it the effect of a window. This is a subtle thing, but having this lamp in the midground area with this fake backdrop makes this whole room a little bit more convincing. This is the Nanlite Forza 302, and this is a daylight balanced light. And this is Lynn's main key light, and we have it at a 45-degree angle from her face in the direction that she's looking because that's standard interview lighting. We've double diffused the light. This has made the light extremely soft. Look at this, without the first stage of diffusion, this is how harsh she looked. Also, these lights have a very special feature. They have a magenta green shift. Look at what it looked like with just the standard light. It looks dull, but as soon as we pull up that magenta shift, her skin came alive. I think this is a great feature with this light. Now what's cool here is we actually only used 3 lights, but if you're doing this setup in a real room with real windows, you can just use a key light and a backlight, and you're gonna get the same effect. For this photography setup, we used the Canon EOS R with a 100mm lens. So I'm gonna talk you through what we did here so you can understand this lighting. This little bicolor Nanlite with a spotlight mount on it is giving us our texture. To get that texture, we're using this cool little gobo. I love these things. And to make the light look kind of blue, we are using this blue gel. To fill the whole background with this spotlight and get the texture just right, we had to have the light really far away. So luckily, we had this extra room off the side of our home studio so we could get the angle right. Now on the other side of Lynn's face, we wanted a little pool of light in the background. To accomplish that, we're using this little Nanlite, and it's battery powered, so we just put it on the ground here. It makes the image appear a little bit more balanced. Right now, it's only at 6% brightness because we didn't need it to do too much. For Lynn's backlight, we wanted a warm glow hitting her hair, and we're using this big spotlight, and it's coming from a high angle as the same side of the key to create more of this wraparound effect. For Lynn's key light, we are using an umbrella because with photography, they usually use umbrellas. This is right where Lynn was standing, so you can get a sense for how close the key light was, just about a foot away. And the reason why we did this is because with this huge umbrella, we're able to get this super soft feel. But if this was just a few feet more away from her, the light would not have been nearly as soft. We realized that there's this cool little umbrella holder. Come here, come here. So they had photography in mind when they made this light as well as filmmaking. One more thing, this bounce was bringing in a little bit more light on the far side of Lynn's face, making the key light appear a little bit softer. This umbrella and this reflector are pretty inexpensive. You can pick them up on Amazon. In this setup, Lynn is a shoe tuber, a social media influencer that talks about shoes. And you can subscribe to her if you want, but you won't be able to find the channel anywhere. This setup is unique because we are using a TV as the backdrop, and a TV is reflective. In this room, we were lucky that these blue curtains were here because this dark fabric allowed for no reflections coming from this direction. First, let's talk about the key light and where we placed it. This is the 302 from Nanlite. It's at 70% power. In relation to Lynn and the TV, this is really off to the side because of the reflections. But we were lucky. It's actually bouncing off of the ceiling. Look at this right here. the light is hitting this and it's filling in Lynn from above. But because it's from above, we don't have the reflections. There was a lot of light leaking through, causing reflections with the TV. We have this big black 5-in-1 reflector thing blocking this light. Now, classic YouTuber setups have different white balances with the lights. We're filming at about a 5,000 Kelvin. This backlight is at 2,700, and this light has a lot of blue gels on it. And these two lights together just kind of give a fun, whimsical look. Now, you can change the background with the TV, and that's what the superpower of this TV is. Now, TVs are expensive, but if you do have an extra one, a large one, you can use it for a setup like this. We did this natural looking office background that we found on YouTube, but the different colored lights weren't looking really realistic with it, so we turned off the blue light. We quickly changed the white balance of this other backlight to daylight. Voila, it looks natural. This is our cinematic setup. Now, it's raining in this shot, and we're in Arizona, where it literally has never rained.
Once upon a time, there was a magical place where it never rained. The end.
So let me take you outside to see how we achieved this effect. Here's Andrew working away. I'm sure his thumb feels great right now after doing this for an hour. How are you doing, Andrew?
Oh, I'm doing great.
This is our main key light. It is at 100%. And it's going through this diffusion. This is the 300B2 and it's bicolor. This light is emulating our sunset. This light is at 3200 Kelvin at 100% power. And we have this Fresnel lens on it. With our camera today, we have a 35mm lens on here. I always feel like wider lenses look more cinematic. Remember, if you want a room to look cinematic, you haze it up for no reason. It adds that atmospheric perspective and helps there to be like shafts of light in the background. We weren't getting quite enough light on Lynn's face, so we got this other light here, and it's just acting like the sun hitting Lynn's face on that far side. Remember, cinematic lighting is all about motivated lighting. Where is the light coming from? Is it coming through a window? Also, to get that classic cinematic feel, you want the lights to be behind the subject, coming forward as much as possible. These 4 lights are highly versatile. You can use them for corporate interview setups. You can use them for photography, for YouTube influencer setups, and for cinematic movies. If you want to get into cinematography, lighting of any kind, lights like this are great. You may not know this, but you can't just subscribe to an unlimited amount of YouTube channels. There is a limit. So please, if you have subscribed to our channel, unsubscribe and use your subscription for quality content. Channels like Potato Jet, Peter McKinnon, Matty Hapoja. Is that his name? I forgot his name. He lives in Canada. Anyway, unsubscribe from Epic Light Media.